this might be a tricky one to answer. I don't know if there is an answer for this, but one of the songs that jumped out at me from this album was "Which Way to Go," and it's one of those songs that you feel like you know it, even though it's the first time hearing it. Um,
Mm.
and like I was playing it in the car, and my wife started singing along the first time she heard it, and and it's like you've never even heard this, and somehow you
Yeah,
pick up,
that's
and it just, and I'm wondering how does one accomplish that trick? Because it sounds really difficult.
I think one really gets lucky. And one
Ah.
keeps showing up and writing and showing up and singing and showing up and making creative noises. And then there's two great co-writers on that song. And the three of us um, know each other intimately, and we have a shorthand.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul and I are sort of similar ages, and we've worked in different musical situations together. And over a period of time, we've seen divorce and things like this. We've
Mm.
seen a lot of each other's lives, and
Yeah.
I was telling the guys these were the themes that I wanted to write about on the record. So with that in mind, and you sit down and you just start singing a great little melody,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that hard. We got lucky. But
um.
I don't think I would have written that song 30 years ago.
Hmm.
I would
Like,
now because I've
yeah.
lived a bit. I understand life and how it
Mm-hmm.
unravels a bit more now than I did. You're not really going to get that if you don't put the time in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that kind of brings up one of my pet peeves with the music business is that there's lots of artists that became famous when they were young, and I contend that they're releasing some of their best stuff now, but it's not getting the attention that it should because
Hmm.
they're older and it's not, not in their classic hits phase and that kind of thing. But it's
Yeah.
like they're I think they're even better than they used to be. And I think a lot of artists like, again, you get that perspective and you get the experience and the time, and suddenly you can write from a whole different vantage point that I think is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Or you want to sing about things that are more emotional to you in your life, like Bonnie Raitt, man. I mean, she just blew up in her 50s, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
But she'd been out there playing and singing, and what a great musical family and lineage. But I think she hit a sweet spot in her in her 50s.
You're right.
She did.
But
And I love her to this day too. So she's great. Yeah. I
yeah.
think some sometimes you just need to have really felt emotion in order to be able to emote to people while you're singing, you know?
Hmm.
So I think I'm a better singer than I was 25 years ago because I'm a mom. I had this huge experience of making a human being
Mhm.
and then watching it grow too. So that's huge stuff.
Yeah, and it shifts your perspective, I think, because you're kind
Totally.
of seeing the world through your child's eyes part of the time.
Oh yeah, I'm a much better person for it.
Hmm.
I feel I
Yeah.
grew a lot. I learned a lot, and I learned to be happier when it's not about me. I get in trouble a lot. People tell me off. They say you should talk more about yourself on stage. Like we did a gig in LA with a great band, and I was just so happy to have that band. Apparently, I was talking about them, and I just think it's such a collaborative thing, and we all need to get our props. But you know what? Maybe I was like that when I was younger too, because I have a friend who's a very successful songwriter, producer, female, and she used to call me the Wonder Bra because I was so supportive and uplifting.
Okay.
So we do laugh about that. So I think I also I'm very codependent. I like to sing harmony. I can't do it without another
Yeah.
person. So,
Right. But
you
and
know,
Lord knows you've had so much experience and been in demand for your ability to harmonize and again to sing with other people. The fascinating part about this album is you also contributed to backing vocals, and I'm wondering what's the key to backing yourself.
it is a different part of my brain that I think I use. You approach it differently. When you're singing backgrounds, you're the slave of the song. You are there to enhance the song or the vocal. You're not there to sing the message of the song. It's different.
Mhm.
Um, a lead vocal and a backing vocal are different, very different, and I love both. And I have described it before. When you're singing backgrounds, it's more like an instrument
Mhm.
than
But
a
is it
voice.
kind of an odd thing when you're backing yourself though? And,
No, I've
how
been doing it for you.
cognizant do you have
Don't
to be
I
not to
don't
be
even
in the
think
same
about it.
register and oh,
I don't
wow,
even think
okay.
about it. It's just a musical thing, and I love to
Mhm.
do it. It's my favorite thing to do is to multi-track my own voice. It really likes itself. Not all voices like themselves multi-tracked. Mine
Right.
does, but it does create a certain sound. And on this record, Dave doesn't really let me multi-track my voice much in this genre. On backgrounds, yeah,
Ah,
but not on lead vocals. He doesn't really let me.
okay.
And I bow down to his expertise. I haven't produced 60 albums. He has. So I'm like, okay, even though I disagree with him, I'm going to do what he says because
Mhm.
he
Okay.
knows, I have to, trust the pilot, as it were.
Yeah, well, I would think that's the point of having a producer is to have someone that has that different perspective that can go, "No, I think it sounds better this way," and
Yeah. And, that being said, sometimes if I really hear something or want to create something sound wise, I will try to communicate that, wholeheartedly to him. Uh, and if sometimes he'll be like, you know what, you're right. So I'm lucky with him, and I trust him. And I
Mhm.
think that's a big part of having a producer, because as a young singer, I sang a lot of backgrounds, and I knew what people were trying to get me to do from the other side of the glass before they would really be telling me.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would be manipulating you. And I can you can't do that with me, unfortunately. I just have to be left to do it. And you can
R
guide me, but I kind of have to be in on it with you.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has to be like a collaborative thing. I
Right.
don't I don't like to be fooled, as it were.
Mhm, mhm. Right.
Which sometimes happens, they tell you something to make. I have a producer friend, CJ Vanston, and he told me, he goes, "Oh, sometimes Bernie, when you get fiery, you focus so hard." So he would like to wind me up,
Oh,
so I would focus harder.
wow. Okay.
Everybody has different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
I also respond well to coffee.
Okay.
It's so true. Our little creature comforts in the studio.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little habits that you get used to.
right. And it's funny because you talk about manipulating singers in the studio and stuff, and it reminds me of, did you see that documentary? What's it called? 20 feet from stardom, 30 feet from
Oh yes,
stardom.
I did. It kind of made me very sad that.
Yeah, but toward the end, there was one of these agents or producers that works with a lot of background singers and talking about, these guys now have, budgeted for uh, uh, um, tweaking things in the computer system. Oh, we need to, this amount of time to tweak the backing vocals and everything. And he's like, why don't you just get people who can sing? You know?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said by, it's a There's a lot of that in pop music, and I would say that it's just as much the producer's realm as it is the artist's realm.
Hmm.
So, the control that happens within the computer is huge. They can do so much. So, and as you're creating, things change. So things can change very easily in like 90 tracks of music.
Yes, yeah,
So it's like, I would imagine every instance is different. You know,
yeah,
Uh,
probably.
I did a lot of pop singing in my 20s, and those guys would take, because the vocals were recorded in such a way, and it would be so precise and rhythmic, and the way that they record to make the sounds was very different to, for instance, the record I just made with Dave, where a lot of the vocals are one pass on my record. There's a few where I got to go back and revisit, but we just tracked with the band, and he just kept 75% of my vocals. So,
Okay.
and I also sing pretty quickly and efficiently, and I did really know the material going into the studio,
Yeah.
so that helped. But I remember singing for 3 or 4 days on a one pop song in my 20s. It's
Wow.
a totally different machine approach to music, style of music. It's so much more under a microscope when it's like
Yes.
modern pop music, like what Taylor Swift does. Those
Hmm.
those vocals probably take 3 or 4 days to record everything perfectly, get it, and then they start tweaking. They're
Yeah.
tweakers in those computers, and then they start coming up with sounds, and oh, they'll make a mistake, and oh, I accidentally moved that a bar, but wow, that's so cool. So you just never know what they're going to discover, but it's a different animal musically.
It is, but I'd argue there's lots of times where they really go overboard and they kind of
Oh, I
take the
agree.
humanity out of it. And I mean, luckily I have like the CD version of this, and so when you hear it in good quality with speakers, it's your voice, the backing vocals and everything. It sounds warm. It's
Good.
it's like you're there sitting with you guys in the room, and that
Well,
that doesn't happen, especially with a lot of modern albums, where
right.
I would argue this draws you in better than a lot of those.
Yeah, it kind of. Well, Dave, man, he tracked us all together.
In some of the research I did, you have this cool line where you said, "I don't think of it as my voice, but as a distinct musical instrument, a sound." And I'm wondering how much is looking at it that way freed you to approach lyrics or melodies in, I don't know, new and different ways as a result.
I don't. With me. It's also in the moment, Steve. I'm so spontaneous when I'm musical. Uh, I don't think I would think about it like that. Um, what I do think about when I'm singing backgrounds is what emotional noise do I need to convey here? And then, if it's a happy song, you're going to have happiness in your voice, whatever the part is that you're doing. And if it's sadness, I've been told I have a certain cry in my voice, which people find emotional, and sometimes you can use that.
Hmm.
Um, Sorry, my husband's just walking in the door.
No problem.
Taken. It's okay. He didn't realize I was talking to anyone.
No problem.
Chatting away to
Usually,
myself here, honey.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, because
I don't think it makes me think differently about lyrics, the sound of the voice. In fact, um, generally when I write, we find a chord progression and start messing with melody first.
Mhm.
Figure out what what are we talking about here? What is this emotional vibe coming out of the melody that we're creating? And then go from there with a subject.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the way you talk about it, it's almost like how people talk about method acting, you know,
Yeah,
um,
maybe, yeah.
where you're drawing on experiences from your past to kind of live out what you're singing.
Oh yeah. I think that's why I mean when you listen to the like Etta James and jazz singers of that era, what's what's her name? Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
I did a session once. Well, this is interesting. I did a session for a movie, for an Adam Sandler movie, and it was called Eight Crazy Nights. Was it Eight Crazy Nights? I did a couple different movies for him. It was an
Okay.
animated movie, and he had Ray Ellis, who produced Lady in Satin. Okay,
Hmm.
as the composer on the movie. So I get a call from his music supervisor, Brooks Arthur, who actually helped me get my first record deal. Brooks did.
Oh.
And then, so I go down there and I sing, and Ray Ellis is, I think that's his name. I'm doing this. I was basically doing the guide vocals for the movie, for the animated movie. And
Oh.
here I have this album, and I've had this album since I was a young woman, and I knew his name, and I was like, wow, can't believe I'm getting to sing for this guy. And and he's talking to me, and he's elderly, and he's like, so what do you, oh, I'm a pop singer. And he's like, well, no, you're not. You're a jazz singer. Because the thing that I was singing for them that day was kind of jazzy.
Uh-huh.
And so I asked him what it was like to record Billie Holiday. And he said he thought his career was over because she came to the studio exhausted all the time. And they had this big band and they were recording with his arrangements. I mean, he's like the number two arranger of his era. I think it's like him and Quincy Jones.
Wow.
They were the guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, no, I thought my career was over. And when I listen to those vocals, they're so painful. Just coming back
Hmm.
to what we were talking about. So I was sort of like, oh wow, it is like acting in that
Hmm.
sense. What that person is doing in that moment that gets captured, that's what gets captured. The emotion that they're feeling when they're singing. So
Hmm.
she was in a lot of pain and she was tired.
Yeah.
And that's the whole album sounds like a really like weak vocal recording,
Hmm.
which actually worked in their favor,
Right.
surprisingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found that fascinating, and I was probably, I don't know, I was probably 28, maybe 29 when I found that out from having that experience at that session. I was like, oh.
Okay.
So I learned a lot singing a lot of other people's songs.
Well, well, that makes me wonder. I mean, is it also when you're doing a concert, when you're doing a show, is it also emotionally exhausting bouncing from, a sad ballad to a happy, powerful rock song? Because, it seems like what you're talking about is your emotions are
Mm.
going all over the map.
Yeah, they kind of are. You
Mm.
are acting out songs and revisiting what they mean to you or what you wrote them about while you're doing it. Yeah. And then you're also sometimes dealing with other things in the moment too in a performance. One hopes that you could just tap into the emotion from beginning to end and not have anything distract you on stage,
Hmm.
but you are in front of people and you got to know where the mic is. There's
Yes.
some really simple stuff going on, so you can't get too caught up in it,
Hmm.
but yet you want to deliver. Yeah, it's a tricky balance. It's a tricky balance.
And a lot of the songs on these albums, you know, sound like they would work acoustically, as well as with a full band.
Yeah.
Particularly the song Enough Time, which
Yeah.
just has this great, sitting around the campfire jam session kind of vibe
Yeah.
to it. And I'm wondering, was that kind of how a lot of these songs came to fruition? Was just that kind of, uh, uh,
Yes.
jam?
Pretty much every song, acoustic guitar voice in the room, wrote the song. Uh, that's how they all came to be.
Hmm.
And then I would, get a recording on my phone. Sometimes, and also like Dave and Paul, who I wrote "Which Way to Go" with, and I wrote "Enough Time" with Paul also, and our friend Lily, who we worked with Melissa Etheridge,
Hmm.
another singer-songwriter. A very very different kind of voice. Lily's a pretty soft singer, but what was the question again? What was the question? Oh, the
Um,
campfire vibe. Yeah. So the
yeah.
three of us, it would basically they wrote some songs with me on my previous album, and Kirk was like, "Yeah, come on, let's make a record." So I was like, "Okay, I got to go write a record." Dave said, "Go write 25 songs." I think he said 30. I might have gotten to like 24.
Okay.
Um, but there was a lot going on that year. I had a kid going to college. See, there was a
Hmm.
lot going on. I had a friend with breast cancer that I was helping.
Oh.
My mom nearly, left. She's still here with us, but
Hmm.
like stay right there. I wrote that chorus on my own, and I showed up with my co-writers, and I said, "Okay, let's write from this." Sometimes I'll have a whole section and just show up, and sometimes we just start from scratch. Enough Time was us sitting around talking about what was going on in our lives, and Lily had had a phone call the night before with a dear friend whose mother had passed away. And they were just saying they never had enough time because the doctors had given her, 9 months to live, and I think she made it 3.
Hmm.
And and I said, Lily, my mom's 92. I still don't feel like it's enough time.
Hmm.
And so we wrote from there, and we and I told Paul and Lily, there's a song that I love called "Put a Keg on My Coffin."
Hmm.
And I really like the idea of having celebratory songs to sing and play for people at wakes or celebration of lives. And,
Mhm.
because I think we should celebrate each other.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where that all came from, that song.
Hmm.
Just the combination of what was happening in one of the writers' lives and the direction that I was saying. I literally had, okay, 10 songs, and I kind of planned out this one. I want it to be this kind of a song. So I was looking for that song for about a year.
Hmm.
And I think we hit that one on the right nail on the head on that one. I thought we did a really good job. You should listen to that song, "Put a Keg on My Coffin."
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
an Irish party song.
Right. Right.
So not quite what this one was, but uh when I sing it live, I just really hope nobody's died that week for somebody in the audience, because it gets them every time. It's
Uh,
and then I have to go up to people afterwards and say, "Oh, sorry," but
that's
but
like, have you
they
ever heard?
but they enjoy the song as well.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the song by Warren Zevon, "Keep Me in Your Heart for a While"?
Possibly, I'm terrible with titles. It's all
Okay.
about the melody for me. Um,
Um.
but I'll look it up. What's it called?
Yeah. Keep
Warren
me in your.
Zevon. Keep
Yeah.
me in.
Keep me in your heart for a while,
Okay, I'll check that one out.
because it was on his last album, which he, you know, uh, not mincing words, titled "Life Will Kill You," because he knew he had limited time when he was recording it, and
Mm,
but that one's kind of it's like a sweet, you know, again, it's like a sweet celebration of someone,
yes. And we need that. We have a lot of terrible stuff going on in the world, and we all need to be kind of having fun, more fun,
Yeah. Well, I
you know,
mean, well, that
more
makes me wonder
joy,
because,
more
yeah,
joy.
but I mean, because for some people, music is an escape. And, do you ever have when your mind is focused on all these big issues and troubles maybe in your own life, and it's like, well, that would be great material for a song, but I really don't want to stay in this realm right now. I would like to
Sure.
escape it.
Yeah. No, I think all those kinds of things affect writers and where they're at on any given day when they go to sit down and work on an idea, a feeling. Um, yeah, sometimes you can't force an idea either,
Hmm.
but you just got to catch a good creative wave.
Well, like when someone gives you homework and says, I want you to write 25 to 30 songs. I mean, how do you approach that? Because it would seem like,
Well, you show up and you write. And
hmm,
because what do they say? 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration
yeah.
is how you write a song. Some songs, like Million Miles an Hour, came out in 10 minutes. Dave and I wrote
Mm.
that in 10 minutes. And then other songs took 6 or 7 hours. Like that would be a really long day for me and Paul and Lily. Um, we generally would try to get together on a Tuesday every couple of weeks, and we just got really disciplined about getting together and writing. And I did with some other friends as well. I traveled to Nashville and Portland with the intention of writing. And my friends and I wrote a song called "In Peace" on the
Hmm.
record, and um, one of my co-writers is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's.
Um,
That's what the song is really about. It's really about his partner shepherding him to the end.
mm,
And the second verse, just she wrote a great lyric. My good friend Holly.
mm.
So there, a lot of us, we're middle aged, so we're all writing really meaningful stuff, I think.
Yeah, yeah. What do you usually bring to the table in these sessions, and what do you usually look for in a co-writer?
Um, I'm a great song editor. I melody, sometimes lyrics. Um, but I had the good fortune of of singing a lot of demos in my 20s for the
Mhm.
best, like literally the best songwriters in Los Angeles. And I just think it was great training
Mm.
just for ideas or how a song comes together, just how my brain works. It's very all over the place. Uh, like Paul and Lily and I crack ourselves up because while we're recording, I'll be arranging the vocals and we're still writing. And they're
Oh,
like, "But no, come on, Bernie, sing the melody." And I'm like, no, but I
alright.
got this idea. I already know where I want musically for the voices to go before we've sometimes written the lyric.
Oh my god. Wow.
So that's just, and so what do I look for? Like Lily's solid. Lily's like one foot in front of the other. She
Mhm.
stays on task. Paul and I tend to be a bit all over the place. Music, melody, lyric, all coming out at the same time. And Lily is a great filter for us. So she's just like a catcher, catching all the
Okay.
good balls.
Alright.
And
Yeah.
and it's a democracy. There's three of us. When it's three of us writing, best idea wins. And you just don't know what that might be. It might be a melody. It might be a vowel sound. It might be where that vowel sound lands rhythmically in something. There's so many variables.
Right, right. Yeah.
So just people who are as good, if not better than me at writing songs.
Mhm.
It's kind of what I look for.
Yeah.
And who are collaborative. Paul and I have a saying, singer's choice. So if we know we're writing something for me and I sing it differently to them, then we do it my way.
Yeah, like the line I've heard from other people is the singer has to wear the song.
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting way of saying it.
And then,
So
you brought up Million Miles an Hour, and you have Phillip Saisse playing this really hot guitar
yeah,
in and amongst that. And so I'm curious about, when it comes to collaborating in that sense, how much of it is just going, all right, here's where I want the solo, and how much of it is talking to him about, this is kind of what I'm hoping for, or what, I want you to bring out.
Philip Saisse is a magical musical being.
Mm.
He is very much like me in the sense that he responds to the music. So whatever the music is saying, he um, exaggerates it in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it known because that man is such a genius on that instrument. I mean, I've been in a lot of bands. I've played with some major stars, but Philip, he lifts the room like no one I've ever met. So I tried to get him on my last record, but he had a record deal up in Canada and they weren't that eager for him to just be on some indie record.
Hmm.
Now I think he's out on his own. And here I had an indie label that I was signed to. So,
Yeah.
uh, and we waited for him. We had finished, and I'm like, no, I want Philip on my record.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm on a couple of his records, and I know what we do together.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came in on Million Miles an Hour. I think we did Won't Let That Stand in My Way first. Stand in My Way.
Okay.
We did that first, and I was just like, yeah, it's just like call and response.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it here in Woodland Hills, and we had Dave on a computer up in Portland, and we and Camilla recorded Philip,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, you know, couldn't ask for a better engineer, and Philip's interpretive skills, we just it was just a joy for me to just sit and listen to him. I was so happy that day. Oh my God. You could have you could have pulled me off the ceiling. My husband was videoing me and I was just I was just, my gosh, I can't believe I'm getting him on my record.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very, very happy, and he is just the nicest person on the planet and such a talent. And yeah, very lucky. The Million Miles an Hour, we put the track up and he goes, "Oh, Bernie, this is such a licensable song," and he just started playing. So yeah, he brought some energy to the track, and we also have, I think, Dave and John Schroeder on that track as well. So this was
Okay.
guitar heaven on that track. And like I say, I was really speedy one morning, and Dave was like, "You're going a million miles an hour, Bernie," and then we were like, "Oh, that could be something."
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because those two songs, because your voice does slide into that electric guitar register.
Oh, the blues rock.
Yeah, the pitch, and then it gets a little rougher around the edges, and compared to
Okay.
the other songs on the album, and it's like the two of you lock in together.
Yeah, well, there was a reason he was on those two songs. They are blues rock songs that we wrote, and I just knew that he would just lift them to another level
Yeah.
musically, and he did. And we sound great together when we sing. He didn't sing on this, but maybe we'll have to do something together for the next record. Maybe a duet. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a couple of his songs. Oh My and Lady Love Divine.
Hmm.
And in the second verse of Lady Love Divine, I did like these Stevie Wonder crazy harmonies. And I surprised him. 'Kay, he just sent it to me at my house, and I recorded them for him
Okay.
and sent him home. I sent them over to him, and then he mixed. So yeah, we've been known to add each other to each other's work in the past. So yes, check those out. They're good tracks.
Okay. And then I was going through materials and past interviews, and at one point you said you that Elvis Presley taught you how to sing in a
Oh, yeah,
way.
I think he did.
And
When
I'm wondering because you talked about doing the hairbrush thing and singing along to his albums and everything.
Yeah, like
And
everyone.
yeah, but what I'm
But
wondering is, are there things that you learned from immersing yourself in those albums and singing along to those
oh,
albums
oh
that are
yeah.
still part of your skill set today?
Oh,
And is there
yes.
any way to even put a name to those?
Well, I think that a lot of this record is more sort of rock.
Mhm.
The previous record has a bit more of a rhythm and blues flavor in the songs, and that was intentional.
Mhm.
And when I do like the rhythm and blues, that's when I learned rhythm from him. I learned pain from him. I learned how to deliver a vocal from him. I mean, he's just one of the best in the world, right?
Mhm.
And I was this little kid. All my siblings were 10 years older than me. I had everybody else's record collections, my mom's, my older siblings, and it was around about the time when his movies would be on and like BBC Two at 2 o'clock in the
Okay.
afternoon. So I think my mom had like the album for was it GI Blues? I think where he
Uh,
goes to jail. I think in that. Oh, that was Jailhouse Rock. I think she
yeah.
had maybe they're on the same album. I'm not sure, but I had like the double album. You know, when you used to sit and immerse yourself in an album's artwork and
Yeah.
listen and I loved him from the movies. I just thought he was so cool.
Mhm.
And he was just such a great singer. And I learned his music, which taught me rhythm and blues.
Hmm.
And then I remember when I first came to America, I had a friend who was like really into the Staples singers. And I had really been into Stevie Wonder when I was still a teenager at boarding school. So there was a lot, and George Benson. There was a lot of rhythm and blues in my life.
Mhm.
Uh, and and they love rhythm R&B in England. I mean,
Mhm.
they love R&B in England, big time. Um, so you know, I think he did teach me
Mhm.
because he was my friend. He was hanging out with me.
Yeah.
I was a little kid. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And then you had this really kind of a heavy, interesting line where you said that I want to make sure I get this correctly. I realize it's not often a woman singer my age gets a chance to keep doing this. And I'm wondering that thought, how much does that contribute to joy in making an album? And how much does it contribute to, I don't know, a pressure in making an album?
Wow. Yeah, all of the above. All of the
Mm,
above is involved. And, even now I'm like, am I going to make another record coming up? Where's my focus going to be? Because, you know, time is precious.
mhm,
And should I be like selling up and going and traveling around the world and enjoying myself? Or should I be still trying to make music for people?
mm,
Uh, you know, but these are definitely questions in my life every day.
mhm,
And the older you get, the less your phone rings for work.
mm. Yeah.
Phone's not ringing much these days.
Mm,
Um, I just was on the East Coast and I did a little tour. And oh my gosh, those people love us. They love us. They love the music. They want us back in the summer.
mhm.
And
Great.
when when you get a standing ovation or when you get an audible wow at the end of a song that you've written, it is a little different to being the background singer on stage in front of 50,000 people.
Mm,
It's it's like, oh wow, they really like what I wrote. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, or how I sang it, or the fact that it's mine and I gave birth to it. It's a bit different than being the bridesmaid and the support staff.
Yeah, like yeah, I can only imagine.
And it's so much work, I have to tell you, Chris. I don't have a manager, so I'm wearing all the hats. We're making our own videos, me and
Yeah.
my husband.
Mhm.
Um, I'm doing all my social media, probably poorly.
Mm.
Um, I'm doing my best. And I'm setting up a tour and I'm hiring musicians. It's a lot for one person. I've probably never worked so hard in my life. And
But does
and I
the
said to
reward
John,
or the effort?
I don't know if I can keep up the pace.
Yeah.
Like I actually think after my experience in the last 8, 9 months releasing the record, I think you need to put a song out every 3 weeks on Spotify to gain momentum.
Hmm.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So time will tell. I think that the future of music is in live performance.
Mhm.
And I feel very fortunate that I can sing live.
Yeah.
A lot of ladies my age, they can't at this point in their careers. So I feel pretty fortunate, and feel very fortunate that I met Kirk and that he gave me a record deal,
Mhm.
which was, basically me singing backgrounds at his sessions and him saying, you know, I know a guy who owns a label if you want to make another record.
Yeah.
So I called his bluff. But I think we made a good record.
I think it sounds great.
I'm glad your wife liked the song.
Yes, yes.
She's my demographic.
Okay, okay.
Women over 40. It's who I wrote the record for, really. People that can relate to my life. I mean, and some of it's universal because obviously some of my co-writers are gentlemen. But I was joking with somebody the other day that sometimes when you have three writers on a song, they're writing three different songs
Oh, yeah.
because it's
Could
still
be.
whatever's in your head. It might be universal. How you're approaching it is going to be different to what your songwriting partner might be. So
Oh, yeah. And I'm
yeah.
assuming in that case, it's like, well, again, singer wears the song, so that's who has the, final veto power.
I think probably about melody and performance and how to perform the song, but lyrically we all try to like keep it pretty uh samey. We don't like
Hmm.
to change too much.
Yeah.
I accidentally did that on one of the songs. On
In
on
recording it or in performing it
when
live?
when I recorded it, I accidentally changed the lyric. But I guess that day I had veto power.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it. It's all good.
Mm.
It's all good.
All right. Well, that takes care of all my stuff. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to discuss?
Um, like what?
I don't know. I mean, it might be nothing, but I just find when I offer that up, sometimes I get some interesting responses because people are like, "Oh, people always ask me about A, B, and C, but I'd really like to talk about W."
Right. Well, right now where I'm at, I'm just trying to figure out how to get gigs and play music to people live. How to do that
Mm,
because it is incredibly hard and it is incredibly expensive.
yeah.
And so my husband and I went on tour for the last 3 weeks. We had 2 weeks of gigs and we did it with another couple and we share the show so that we don't have to pay for musicians.
Mm,
But I drove across America and back because I had the
mm,
gear and I had a car and we need two cars on the East Coast and I don't want to rent a car and rent gear, but I did have to spend 5 days driving each way.
mm.
And it's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So I think what I'm going to concentrate on is perhaps the West Coast
Hmm.
and um, doing more live performance that I can cut up and put online, so
No.
that so that people can see who I am and hear
Mm-hmm.
who I am. Because when I do TikTok, I feel like I'm talking to the wall.